All right, we are recording. All right, awesome. Welcome everybody to our April Team Persevere monthly team call. We do a monthly team call usually about the third or fourth Wednesday of every month. And this team call, we have an amazing guest speaker from our team leader Jessica Conley, and she's going to deliver on a pretty awesome subject, and I will introduce her in just a moment. But I do have some recognition that I want to get out there for all the hard work that's going down from all of the coaches in Team Persevere. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to go ahead and get started with volume exploders. So volume exploders for just this week, I'm only going off of this week's volume. So volume can be described as anything that is like sales. So any kind of sales that come in this week, Shakeology, challenge packs, performance line supplements, workout equipment, derm exclusive, anything that people buy from our website, that's considered sales. That's also considered volume. So when you hear me say volume exploders, that is what I'm talking about. So so I take the top coaches that are earning at least 150 volume points or above, and I give them recognition. And let me see here. I want to make sure that I mute on my end just so that we have a clear background. Okay, awesome. Somebody else is, there we go. Okay, so volume exploders for the month of April, not for the month, for the week, this week, with at least 150 or more. Kicking us off is Natalie Fillmore, Josh Lambert, Susan Vandemark, Jenna Buck. Congratulations, you guys are in the 150 and above. For those in the 200 category, we have Megan Galliman, Kimberly Close, Jennifer Cupcho, Jerry Isaacs, myself. And for those in the 300 and above category, we have Jessica Conley, our guest speaker for this evening. We have Tina Dick on the 300 and above. And then leading the way in 400 and above is Heather Stetson. Congratulations, coaches, in the volume exploder category. And the next category I want to touch base on is Success Club. So these are coaches who are in Success Club for the month and have Success Club points on the board. You earn Success Club points by helping customers get started with either a challenge pack or Shakeology on Home Direct. So those coaches with 2 points on the board so far: Nicole Schmucker, Susan Vandemark, Jerry Isaacs, Araceli Gonzalez, Jennifer Daramis, Kimberly Close, Andrea Kiskaden, Sarah Resnicek, and Lisa Holland. Congratulations, coaches, for getting 2 points on the board. Those with 4 points on the board so far: Stacy Smith, Jennifer LeGrew. Who else do we have? Vanessa Liu and Barbara Carr. Just one more person to help with the challenge pack or Success Club and HD, and you guys are in the club. All right, let's hear it up for those people who are already in Success Club for the month of April already. So with 6 points on the board, we have Josh Lambert, Elizabeth Lambert, power couple right there, Natalie Fillmore and Chelsea Placer with 6 points. With 8 points, Jennifer Cupcho. With 10 points, 12 points, actually, she just informed me that she signed somebody up tonight. Our guest speaker, Jessica Conley. I'm personally at 12 points as well, and leading the way with 26 points on the board, Heather Stetson. So congratulations, coaches. It's been an amazing April so far. Keep up the hard work. We have a little bit more than a week left of the month of April, so plenty of time to get points on the board and to get in Success Club. Just don't stop. Just keep going. So I want to give some recognition to those coaches who rank advanced in their business in the month of April so far. We have Chelsea Placer earning Ruby Coach. We have Barbara Carr and Javier Placer also earning Emerald Coach in their business so far in the month of April. So next Thursday on the 27th is the last Thursday in April to rank advance. So if you are shooting for Emerald Coach or above, you will need to lock that in by at least Wednesday next week on the 26th. So I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to do for recognition. So awesome job, everybody. I just want to give a heads up on If you hear somebody blowing their nose, that's Mari in the background. That's not an elephant. So anyway, I just want to give the team a heads up just on some things to, keep in mind. Number one, first and foremost, the $160 all access challenge pack, amazing freaking deal. You guys have to shout this from the rooftop. It's going to go back up to $200 by next month, I'm assuming. So definitely leverage that to help you earn Success Club for the month of April and kick off this this next quarter, because we are knee deep into the second quarter of 2017. I can hardly believe it. If you are planning on going to Summit, you should have received an email about the Summit tracks and all the different general sessions and trainings that are going to be headed up by top coaches. Please make sure to take a look at that, because registration is going to be coming up for that. You're going to get to choose your celebrity workouts as well. So keep an eye out for that email if you haven't got it yet. If you are thinking about going to Summit, which I hope that you are, if you are serious about your business, you can still get a ticket. Who doesn't want to meet up with the rest of the team Persevere and just hang out and have a good time? I mean, we're a party crowd and we like to have fun. So I hope to see a lot of Persevere faces at Summit. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure we can help you find accommodations as far as where to stay, team up with other coaches on the team, save some money. Just, let us know. We'll figure that out. Let's see, what else did I want to give you guys a heads up on? I do want to give you guys a heads up on the fact that I am going to be gone from April 27th through May 2nd. I will be attending the Success Club trip in Punta Cana with the rest of the network that is going to be going, that has earned the Success Club trip. I will be reporting with pictures and updates that I hear at the Success Club trip and the team page and also on the newsfeed. But I know there's some amazing leaders on the team that are going to hold the team up while I'm gone. So please feel free to lean on any one of them while I'm out. All right, I think that's it. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our team speaker for this evening. It's going to be Jessica Conley. She's an Emerald coach. Jessica, I just honestly can't say enough about her. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person last year. I traveled to her home in St. Louis. I went to a women's retreat at her church. We had an amazing time. She's definitely one of my really good friends, and I've seen her recommit herself to her business in the last 6 months, and you guys, she is on fire. You will want to hear everything that she's about to say tonight. She's got some really good tips on how to grow your network when you think that you don't have one, and you're going to want to listen up. Take some notes and take it away, Jess.
Okay, can you hear me? I wanted to make sure it unmuted, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for that introduction, Liz. So just kind of let you guys know, those of you that don't know me, Liz gave an awesome introduction, but I did also want to kind of throw out there that I've been a coach for roughly 18 months. And like Liz said, I really just rededicated myself since October. Is really when I just made the decision that I was going to make no more excuses and I was going to go for it and go all in, and it's been working. And so I do have a lot of things that I want to share with you guys, and I'm actually going to share some slides just to kind of help with some visuals. Let me make sure I can get this going here. Okay, Liz, give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Perfect. Okay. So my topic, like Liz said, is how to tap into your network even when you don't think you have one. I know that I talk to a lot of coaches on my downline. I talk to a lot of coaches, even just on Team Persevere. And I feel like that there's this common theme of people struggling to understand how to tap into their network, how to build their network, and not feel icky about it, right? We don't want to feel like we're hounding friends and family. So that's what I really want to talk about. And I want to lead with this idea with when people have something in common with you, they're going to relate to you, right? If they relate to you, then they are going to like you, okay? If they like you, then they will trust you. And that is something that is very foundational to what I believe we need to be doing as coaches. Okay. I know we talk a lot about Success Club points. We talk a lot about those kinds of things, but we need to remember that first and foremost, we are here to help people. We are here to build relationships, and we are here to be that person that they can trust and reach out to, right? Like that should be number one. And when you lead with that heart, Liz says this all the time, when you lead with heart, the rest will follow. And that is honestly one of the big switches that I've personally made in the last 6 months. I had to be real with myself, and I had to realize that I needed to stop looking at people as a potential sale. And I really needed to focus at looking at them as a person that legitimately needs help. Okay. And it really has changed the way things have gone. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is authentic networking. Okay. First, you really need to find your voice. You have to find out who you are, and you need to learn how to be you. Okay. Bottom line, we're with Beachbody, right? We all sell the exact same shakes. We all sell the exact same programs, and we have everything is set at the exact same prices. The only thing that makes you different from me is that you're you and I'm me. And I know that that sounds really cliche, but it is, like, honestly, it's the truth. There's people that are going to relate to me that wouldn't necessarily relate to Liz, and vice versa. So you really have to find out who you are and what your voice is, so that you can reach those people that are going to relate to you, have that connection with you, and trust you. That's what's going to make your business different. Okay. So some of the ways that you can do this is, first of all, ask yourself, what are some things that you do in your everyday life, right? Like, what do you do besides Beachbody coaching? Okay. For me, I'm part of a church. My husband and I lead a life group. I am a member of the PTA at my daughter's school. I'm her Girl Scout leader. These are all things that I do in my life outside of just Beachbody, right? And when I do those things, I'm not doing them to make a sale, right? I joined PTA because I wanted to be part of my daughter's school. I wanted to be part of her life, and I wanted to know what was going on, and I wanted to be involved. I didn't join it to meet people to make sales, okay? However, because I did that authentic networking, I have made relationships with other people that are on the PTA. What does that mean? We automatically have something in common. We both have kids that go to the same school, and we obviously both want to be involved in our kids' school because we're both on the PTA, right? So right there, we have a connection, a really easy organic connection. And then from that, it just happens organically. It really does. Some of you may have seen, I actually talked about this in the group page when it happened, but I want to talk about it again because it's such a solid example for the point that I'm trying to drive home here. When I go to those PTA meetings, I make sure that that day I save my Shakeology for at night when I know I'm going to that meeting, and I make sure to be drinking it in my Shakeology cup. And I quote unquote happen to have some samples in my purse with me, right? And what happened one meeting was the president of the PTA, we were both there early, and she was like, "What are you drinking?" And oh, it's Shakeology. And we got to talking about it a little bit. I sold her one of my samples for $5. She bought that. She drank it. She loved it. She signed up with the all access challenge pack when it was at the $199 price even. So again, I didn't join the PTA to make sales or be salesy. I joined it authentically. And we made those organic connections, and it organically led to a sale. But I had my heart out there first, right? And so you can just figure out what are the things that you do in your everyday life that you can use to build these authentic relationships. Okay. What we're doing as coaches, it should not feel icky. If it feels icky, you're something's not right. Something is off balance. Okay. If you're truly being you and you're truly finding your voice, it should feel natural and organic. It shouldn't feel forced, and it shouldn't feel icky. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. That's something that it took me a long time to figure out, which is why I was not consistent with my business in the beginning. I was not being authentic. I was not being real with myself. And once I made that mental switch, everything has really clicked and fallen into place, which I think is evident in the numbers, honestly. Like Liz said, my business has really expanded. It's been growing exponentially. I've been knocking my own personal goals out of the water. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to illustrate the point that it works. Okay. And I'm living it, and I'm proving it to you that it works. Okay. So the next thing that I really want to talk about too is referrals. I think a lot of people underestimate the power of getting your existing challengers to give you a referral. But here's the catch. You really need to be pouring into your existing challengers, okay? You want to make sure that we're not falling into that trap of, we got the sale, we got the Success Club points, and now I'm on to finding the next sale. You have to continue to love on that challenger. That's why they trusted you and why they signed up with you. This is something else that, completely honestly, I was not doing very well in the beginning. I was putting them in my Facebook group, but I was not showing up for them consistently. I was not showing them where to find the resources that they needed. I was not checking in with them very often. That was totally my fault, and my business suffered because of that. I had challengers that were not getting the results because I wasn't providing them with that accountability that I promised they would get by joining me. So now, over the last couple of months, this is a really big shift that I have made in my business, and I pour a lot of energy into my existing challengers. I provide them with a lot of content, a lot of resources. I show up in that challenge group and in the challenge tracker app every single day. I've got posts going in there. I'm posting what I'm doing, and it's also working. For, like, honestly, for the first time in my business over the last few months, and this is going to make me tear up a little bit, but I have some ladies that are making amazing life changes, okay? Like, legit amazing. And that didn't happen in my business before. It honestly didn't, because I was not being authentic for my challengers. As soon as I made that switch, they are benefiting from that. Yes, I'm benefiting from it too, but they are benefiting from that. And when they do have those benefits and they are successful, and I've got that challenger that in 2 months has lost 20 pounds, they want to talk about it. It's just like we say in this business all the time. When they're successful, they can't help but talk about it. So if I go to them and say, hey, so-and-so, you've been killing it in this group. You have been doing so well. Do you happen to know of anybody else that might want to join this Memorial Day challenge where we're going to lose 10 to 20 pounds by Memorial Day? Like, do you have somebody you want to lock arms with and get them started on this too? And they're going to be like, you know what, I actually do know somebody. Or, oh, you know what, my sister was actually just asking me what I've been doing. And it happens organically, but they're excited and they want to talk about it because you've gotten them that success that they need to be excited about it. Okay. So that's something that you really want to look at too. How much are you really pouring into your existing challengers? And more business will come from that, just organically. And I know I keep saying the word organically, but it's because it's true. And I don't know another word to put there right now. So we're going to stick with it. Okay. So that was one of the things. Okay. So I'm going to talk a lot about Facebook networking. I know that there are a lot of other social media platforms, honestly, and I know that some of us use a couple of different ones, but I also know that most of us focus primarily on Facebook, so that's what I'm going to spend a lot of time specifically talking about. But if you do use a platform more often, like Instagram, a lot of these main ideas you can still take over to Instagram. So just bear with me. But again, I know most of us primarily use Facebook, so that's what I'm going to focus on. Okay. So first I want to talk about, with Facebook networking, adding to your network. Okay. When I first became a coach, I only had, I don't know, a couple hundred friends on Facebook, maybe some friends from high school, some friends from church, things like that. And at this point, I have over 2,000 friends on Facebook. So I have worked pretty diligently in growing my network on Facebook, adding to that network. And I wanted to give you some tips on how to do that, because I know that that's a sticking point for a lot of people. So I'm going to give you a couple of different ways that you can do this. Okay. First of all, flat out sending friend requests. Okay. One way that I do this, Facebook makes it pretty easy because you can look up like people that went to your same high school, people that went to your college, people that live in your same hometown. You can look up people based on a place you used to work or a place you do work. And it'll give you all of those suggestions of people. So start just sending out those friend requests. Now, for me personally, I do not send friend requests out to men only because I feel like it's hard to initiate a conversation with them without them assuming that you're like hitting on them. I know that's probably like a bit of a stereotype, but it's been my experience. So I don't send friend requests out to men. That's not my niche. That's not my market. But other than that, I'll go through and I'll add a bunch of people from these places that I used to be involved in. So your church, your kids' school, all of that. And again, Facebook makes that pretty easy to find those people. Okay. So that's one way that you can kind of send out a lot of friend requests. I will also look for friends of friends. Okay, so I'll go in Facebook where it says like suggested people. And if we have, for me, if we have like 5 or more people in common, I send them a friend request. And probably 80% of the time, they accept me. And I think it's because since we have several friends in common, they know that I'm not like a creeper, right? They're going to be like, oh, she knows so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay, I'll accept her. And I feel like it just helps them feel we have something in common. Again, it goes back to, they have something in common with you, so they're more likely to trust you. Okay. So that's another way that I do it. Tagging friends and family. So here's another one that I actually came across recently. I watched a video from a top coach, Arlene Pino. She is on Christina Delgado's team, and she did a video and had some good tips. And this is one of the ones that I honestly kind of took from her because I thought it was really smart. But it's just the idea that, if you're out with friends on the weekend and you're doing something fun and, you take a friend with your picture, you take a picture with your friend or something like that. If you put that on Facebook, tag that friend, right? And you're just being, normal. You're not being weird. Just tag them and be like, oh, I had a great weekend with Liz Bellini. It was a blast, blah, 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 right? And what'll happen inevitably is because that person is tagged in it, some of their friends are going to like and or comment on that post, because since they're tagged in it, it shows up on their feed and their timeline also, right? Well, technically that post and that picture are mine. So if they like my post, if they comment on my post, that basically is giving me a green light that I can approach them because that was my post. So I'm going to like their comment, maybe say something back, and then shoot them a friend request. So that's kind of another way that you can expand a little bit. And again, you're not doing it in like a creepy way. Like that was your post. That was your picture. So that's one way that you can do it. Another thing, and this one I really want to talk about for a minute, because I know we talk a lot or have heard a lot about joining other Facebook groups to try to find people. And I know I have talked to coaches that are really frustrated with this method because they feel like it's very time consuming, which it can be, but I also think there's kind of the quote unquote right way to do it, okay, where you'll actually get more conversion. So one thing I have learned is if you're going to join other group communities, do it authentically. Okay. Don't just join a bunch of groups because you're looking for people that you can sell to, right? It goes back to my main point. Join groups authentically. For me, I love to quilt, okay? And I'm young, and there are not very many young quilters, right? Everybody thinks that to be a quilter, you have to be 80, okay? So I joined quilting groups simply because that's a hobby of mine, and I wanted to get more information about quilting. But what has inevitably happened over time is that I have found other people in that quilting group that are also in their early 30s, right? So we connected because we're somebody that's young and into quilting. We get to be friends on Facebook. They start seeing my posts. And guess what? I probably have 2 or 3 people from a quilting group that have signed up with me over the last couple of months and bought challenge packs. I did not go into that quilting group to make sales. I went in there because I authentically wanted to be involved in that group because I wanted to get information about quilting. The rest happened organically, okay? And I think that that is honestly something that a lot of coaches kind of trip up on is we go into groups that are already about fitness, or we try to go into groups that are already about exercising and try to just get a sale out of people, honestly. And I know I was doing it that way too in the beginning. I didn't fully understand how that needed to work. And so my tip to you is join groups authentically. What are your interests? Do you like horseback riding? Do you really like crappy TV? Like whatever it is, join groups that are honestly based on things that you are interested in, and the rest will just happen. Okay. Then I wanted to talk about running free challenge groups. This is another really great way to grow your network. But again, I think that there's a level of doing it correctly. Okay. So obviously, if you're running a free challenge group, most of the people that you get in that group are going to be people you're probably already friends with, right? Because you're posting it on your timeline, you're inviting them, etc. But what you also want to do is make a point to tell them that they can invite other people that might benefit from this challenge also. And what I do is I actually offer prizes for people that invite the most friends. Okay. At the same time, I make sure to make it clear they need to be actually inviting them, not just adding people without their permission. Okay. I really do. In my groups personally, I make a big deal out of that, because I had somebody add somebody without their permission one time, and that person like literally blew up on me, and I'm not about that. Right. So I make it a point to say that. But other than that, if they're inviting, their sister, their aunt, their mom, whoever, that's great. And then whoever it gets the most people to join the group, they automatically get a free prize for me. And guess what? Because those people are in that free group, now I'm going to go friend request them about halfway through the group. After I've given them some decent content, I'm going to go later and I'm going to friend request them. And guess what? Now I've just expanded my network, and it was all relatively organically because they were interested in this group. They were added. Now we're friends. Here we are. Right. So that is another way that you can really add to your network using the free groups. Okay. Okay, so now I want to talk about, still with Facebook networking, but I want to talk more about tapping into your existing network on Facebook. I don't care if you have 10 friends on Facebook or if you have 4,000 friends on Facebook, you can tap into that network, and you can do it relatively easily, again, if you're doing it with the right frame of mind. Okay. So one thing I want to talk about is birthdays. Okay. Facebook gives us this lovely little feature that tells you all of your friends that have a birthday today. That's a really easy way to connect with somebody on your Facebook without saying anything to do with Beachbody. You're not saying anything about sales, but guess what happens? When I make a post on that person's wall saying happy birthday, and they like it and or comment, the Facebook algorithm is now in my favor because they've interacted with me, which means the Facebook algorithm is going to make me more important in their feed. Okay. So I have automatically made myself more relevant in the Facebook algorithm. So those people are going to see my posts more often now. Okay. And Facebook does that for you for free. That you just are kind of working it a little bit, but they tell you, here's whose birthdays are today. Make it just a habit. And as part of your power hour each day, it takes 30 seconds. Everybody that says it's their birthday today, just say happy birthday on their timeline real quick. That's it. But it's going to help you. Okay. Provide valuable content. Okay, so this is a big one for me. And it's, again, something that I've really had to work with over the last few months. But I want you to think about what your followers need and want to know. What is the information that you think your people want to know from you? And you're going to provide a lot of that for them. Do a lot of your followers really struggle with clean eating? Then you want to be providing a lot of content that talks about easy, fast, clean eating recipes. You're going to want to talk about, stuff like that. Provide that valuable content that they are going to want to know from you. And it's going to help build, again, that relationship, build that trust, and it shows that you're knowledgeable in what you're doing and what you're talking about. But here's the thing, don't reinvent the wheel, guys. Like the Team Beachbody blog has everything you could ever need. Just take some of those posts and turn them into a post on your timeline, and you're done. Like, you don't have to try to make up all these things on your own or try to write like an entire article yourself. Beachbody gives us that. It's there for us to use. So use it and provide that content. So, and I actually got this idea from Liz. I'm sure several of you saw this too, but she had done her album where she made the whole album for her Ultimate Reset. I took that idea. I made an album for when I did the 3-day refresh. I got 2 sales out of that, and another sale is still pending because people were literally able to see how it works step by step, what I did, how I felt, what I struggled with, what went well. And people were like, oh, that's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I want to try it, or, whatever. I got 2 sales off of doing that. Okay. And all I did was track what I was already doing, but putting it out there on Facebook and making it as a valuable post. Okay. A lot of it has to do with how you're wording it. So like, for example, we want to be making 3 to 5 posts per day, right? But you need those to be valuable posts. And there's a difference between saying something like, I'm going to the grocery store, and that's one of your posts, right? Is that really providing valuable content? No, not really. But if I change it a little bit and I say, I've got my meal plan done, I made my grocery list, I'm going to save so much time because I know exactly what I need when I go into the store, and I use this awesome meal planning sheet, and maybe I post a picture of it, now I have added value. I've said essentially the same thing, I'm going to the grocery store, but I said it in a way that's really providing valuable content to my viewers, right? They're getting something out of that post. Think about what they need and what to know. If you don't know what they want to know, ask them. Do a poll post and be like, hey, what do you guys want to know more about with clean eating? Maybe most of them want to know more about portion control. Maybe most of them want to know more about recipes. If you don't know what your followers are really looking for, just ask them. For me personally, I really like to teach and educate. So I try to do a lot of content that's about educating my followers. I still also do, easy recipes and things like that. My niche happens to be like really busy moms. So I try to focus on that aspect, right? But you really want to make sure you're providing content that is valuable. And this kind of goes hand in hand with that. You want to make sure you're posting with a purpose, okay? Again, it kind of is similar, but you don't want to be posting just to get your 5 posts out of the way for the day, right? And remember, people are selfish. They need to know how that thing is going to benefit them. So rather than just posting a selfie of you next to your Shakeology cup, say something about why Shakeology is valuable. Okay, there's a difference there. It's really similar. It's a fine line, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's going to come a lot faster for you. Okay, avoiding desperation. I had this problem a lot, right? When it gets towards the end of the month, you start feeling desperate because you haven't made Success Club yet, so you start really trying to push. And I'm just going to be honest with you, people can smell that. They really can. And people don't want to be sold to. They don't want us to beg them for sales. So my advice for this is to really hustle at the beginning of the month instead of hustling at the end of the month. Because that's going to give you that time that you need to make those follow-ups, to do the things that you need to do, and it'll end up working out at the end. Okay. Also, you have to stop being afraid, you guys. Stop being afraid that somebody's going to look at you weird because you are telling them that the price of this shake is $130. If you honestly believe in your product and you honestly believe in the value of that shake, you should be excited to talk about it, not scared. And also, again, they can smell it. If you're being really standoffish about wanting to tell them the price and you're feeling uncomfortable telling them the price, they're going to pick up on that. And then they're going to be skittish about it too. Instead, you need to go into it with gusto because you believe that this stuff works and you believe in the value. If you don't fully understand why Shakeology costs what it costs, go listen to the podcast about Shakeology and he tells you exactly why they're priced at the point that they are. And I have honestly used those arguments in my own conversations with people. I've had people say, why would I buy that when I can go to Target and buy a shake for $30? And I'll tell them exactly why, okay? Because I've done that research and I know what I need to say to get them into it, right? The other, let's see, I'm almost to the end here. So the last thing I want to talk about is copying top coaches. Okay. We've all done it. We all do it. We know that they're top coaches because what they're doing is working, right? But here's what I do want to say. Try to focus more on copying the idea of what they're doing that you really like and are attracted to, but put your spin on it. Instead of literally copying and pasting word for word their post, like take the idea but make it your own. So like I saw somebody post about being hypoglycemic, okay, having low blood sugar issues. Um, and honestly, I'm hypoglycemic, and I literally never thought about using that as something that people can relate to me on with as a coach. But it really is true. Like I know a lot of people know a lot about diabetes and how that affects your daily life, but honestly, hypoglycemia does too. I literally have to plan my day around food, like literally. I know that sounds funny, but like I literally do. Like if we're going to go out Saturday morning and go to the farmer's market and things like that, I literally have to plan what I'm eating and when, and we have to go in between my feeding times, right? Because otherwise, like I'll have my blood sugar drop and I won't be able to handle it. And so I really do have to plan my life around that. So all this to say, I got that idea from her. I did not copy and paste her post, but I was like, oh, hypoglycemia. I didn't think about the fact that people could relate to me on that. And now I'm crafting my own posts about hypoglycemia, right? So there's a difference between like, literally copying word for word top coaches versus taking an idea that you really like and making it your own and running with it, right? Even down to like if there's a top coach that you came across a newsletter that they send out, make it your own. Like if theirs is purple and gray, make yours like pink and gold. Make it yours, make it your personality. And copy the idea, but you don't have to, copy their thing word for word. So that is pretty much what I have. Just a couple of final really quick thoughts here. You guys use your tools. Like we have them for a reason. And I know that it can seem really like mundane, but honestly, MLMs are literally built to be duplicatable, right? That's why we have the systems in place, like your 4 vital behaviors and things like that. But at the same time, like, I lost my train of thought. I know it can be boring at times, right? Like, let's be honest. There's days that you probably don't want to sit there and go through your inbox. You probably don't want to sit there and send out those 5 friend requests again. But kind of think about, somebody that's opening a business with a storefront. In the beginning, they have to do all of the like boring, not so fun work, right? They have to do the reconstruction. They have to paint the walls. They have to do all that stuff. They want to just get in there and start baking their cupcakes and everything, right? They want to do their fun stuff, but they have to do that foundational work first that maybe isn't as much fun, but it's going to set them up for success. You can't run a bakery without those walls, right? Think of this that same way. You have to use your tools. You have to do your vitals so that you can build that foundation so that later you're at a point where everything is happening more organically. People are coming to you and you don't have to be doing as much of the icky stuff. You get to do more of the fun stuff, okay? Get out of your own way. In the beginning, and I think I've talked to Liz about this before too, I would get into Success Club. I would hit like Success Club 6 and I would stop. I would stop trying to reach out to more people. And honestly, the reason why is because I was like, well, anybody else that still wants to buy, like I would rather save them for next month so that I can make sure I hit Success Club again, right? Like that was literally my mentality. I'm not even joking. And I'm like, looking back on that, I'm like, that's the silliest thing ever, right? So like I looked back over my last several months of Success Club and I have like a lot of 6s. And then all of a sudden you can see like in my last 4 or 5 months, like 14, I'm at 12 right now. Like I stopped getting in my own way. I'm still hitting those benchmarks every month, but I was literally stopping myself because I was afraid. I was afraid of failing that next month. So get out of your own way, guys. The consistency really is key. Again, I can totally tell looking back over the last 12 months, I can literally see the months where I was consistent and the months that I wasn't. And you guys, here's the secret. There really is nothing to figure out. Okay. They tell us everything that we need to do and it really does work. And I think that I've kind of proven that to myself over the last few months by doing it. And the proof is in the pudding. Is that the phrase? So it works and momentum is real, but you have to get it going first, you guys. I decided that I was going to go all in October. I hustled super hard in October because guess what? The first 2 months or the 2 months before that, Let's see, in September, I had 0. In August, I had Success Club 2. Okay, so I was not looking so hot. In October, I hustled. I didn't have that momentum anymore. I had let myself get to 0 Success Club points. So in October, I hustled. I hit Success Club literally on Halloween. The 31st of the month, I made that last sale to get me to Success Club 6. And I did it. And ever since then, I told Liz, it was like, I am hitting Success Club every month, no excuses. And then that got really easy. I was hitting Success Club. So recently I've upped it and I said, okay, screw that. I'm going up a level. I'm hitting Success Club 10 or better every month from now on. I started in February, and so far I've blown that out of the water. So I literally, you guys, had to get out of my own way, and I got that momentum going, and now it's rolling for me. I had a lady reach out to me like 2 weeks ago that literally said, I saw a post from a person on my feed that said something about you can get all access for $30, but something else was going on. But I would rather buy from you because I know you. Can you tell me more about it? Okay, let me tell you something about this. I found this chick in a mom's group. Okay, so again, I authentically joined this group about moms who breastfeed. We had connected because she had a question about baby-led weaning and skipping pureed baby foods. So we had a Facebook conversation about that on Messenger. We friended each other. I hadn't talked to her in like 6 months, honestly. We had that conversation. We were Facebook friends, but I hadn't touched base with her. She still saw that other coach's post and came to me because we had made that connection on a common ground 6 months ago. Right? Like, that's amazing to me. And that just really, I think, goes to show that, like, it literally is about the relationships. Like, I made a connection with that lady. She felt like she knew me. She felt like she trusted me and came to me even though she saw somebody else's post. Like, that's crazy to me. So once you get that momentum going, you guys, it starts to get better. You just have to be diligent in the beginning. You have to do the icky parts of building your storefront first, right? That's my new motto. You got to build your storefront before you can get everything else going. And Facebook basically is your storefront. So you have to set those foundations. You have to expand that network. You have to be providing valuable content, and the rest really will follow. Okay. That's all I've got, Liz.
Awesome. That was amazing, Jess. Thank you so much for sharing those awesome tips. I'm so glad that I got that recorded, because that is going to be like money in the bank for so many coaches on our team. I mean, if you were on live, you might want to listen to the recording once I get that up into the team page. If you're listening to it for the first time, I hope you took some notes. If not, re-listen and get some more notes, because whether you're a new coach or a coach that's been around a while, you can use these tips. So thank you so much, Jess. I want to close just a little bit with this one thing, taking a page out of Jeff Hill's book from the National Wake-Up Call. So just, in your own words, briefly, Jess, can you tell us, in a nutshell, how has Beachbody changed your life?
Oh, I wish I would have known. I'm the emerald type, and you didn't warn me you were going to ask me this question.
I'm going to get your organic response.
Right, my organic answer. Yeah. It's changed my life in so many ways. I think I really have always had it in my heart to help people, and I think that you know that. You've known me for a long time now, and I know I kind of, went the wrong way for a little while, and I was looking at people more of sales because I was trying to hit those Success Club points, and that was a mental thing. And honestly, it's changed my life because I really am helping other people now, and I see that. And like I mentioned a little bit ago, with seeing my challengers that are making significant life changes, like, to me, that is so powerful. That fills my cup. Like, when I get those messages, I literally get chills, and that has made me feel better as a person. It has made me feel better as a coach. It makes me feel better just that I have something to offer. And then, of course, obviously it's changed my life with, I think a really big thing for me has been my own confidence, both personally and professionally, and with relationships. I've struggled with confidence my whole life. I grew up in school being bullied. I have a broken family. I have a biological father that I didn't know until I was 9. Like, I've got that background of just always kind of feeling like people were always leaving me, or, things were always screwed up. And the personal development that goes around with this stuff, the relationships that I've built, like, when I wake up every morning, honestly, some of the first people I talk to are you guys. You know, like you're just such a huge part of my life. And I never would have met you if it wasn't for this. I mean, you live many states away, right? You're an 8-hour drive away. Like that's not small. But I've connected so deeply with several people on this team, and it wouldn't have happened without Beachbody. So that's my organic answer.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Jess, for giving us all that valuable information. Thank you so much for hosting this call tonight. And everybody else, thank you so much for joining tonight. I will do my best to get the recording up tonight, if not first thing tomorrow morning. So that is it for our April team call. The next call will be, mark your calendars, May 24th. And our host for that call will be Heather Stetson. So I will keep everybody up to date on what the topic of that call is. Other than that, have a great night, you guys, and we'll see you on the team page. See you later.
Bye.